What's up guys, Ryan here from Mudgunner, and today we are talking about 9mm suppressors and just the basics of what goes into them, right? Not like manufacture-wise, but I saw a lot of suppressors at the gun store I work at, and this is not an advertisement for selling guns or suppressors, this is just me talking about them. But yeah, I work in a gun store for a living, so I do deal with suppressors pretty often, and we get a lot of beginners, right? Because obviously everyone has to start somewhere, and it's kind of hard to explain everything like in one sitting, but or it's a lot of information to take, right? Like there is a lot of information that goes into these, but I'm going to try to make today's video fairly simple. So we're going to just be talking about 9mm suppressors, but a lot of this information is universal with other stuff too. So the first thing, why should you get a 9mm suppressor? One, they're a lot of fun. You can run them on pistols, you can run them on rifles or subgun setups, and they're pretty quiet with the right ammo. And that is key, is having the right ammo, because when you run standard full metal jacket 115 grain ammo, a lot of it's not going to be super quiet. And I've had people say, oh, I shot the suppressor, it's not quiet. Yes and no. It is quieter, but yeah, you're right. Without the right ammo, they can still be fairly loud and not hearing comfortable. They're hearing safe, but they could definitely not be hearing comfortable. So buying the right ammo is key too, and we'll talk about that. But one thing that gets a lot of people confused is the mounting system. So I want to talk about the mounting systems first. It'll be fairly quick, but yeah, what I have here is a Silencerco Octane 9 and a Rugged Obsidian 9, just two good silencer brands. I also have a CGS Kraken suppressor here. This is basically the Mod 9. They used to be called the CGS Kraken and the Kraken Subcompact, which I have right here. But later on, they became the Mod 9 and the Mod 9 SK. This was like a collaboration between CGS and Zev at the time, so I have both of those. And the reason why I have two is at that time, there wasn't really a modular can like this Rugged where you could take the front part off and run it in a short configuration. You had to buy the short or the long. So that's why I have both of them, and I really like them. Now the pros of that is I don't have to worry about changing anything. Where this one, the issue I have is right now it's seized. I cannot take the front part off. I need to buy strap wrenches. I did a video where even my dad, like he's a really strong man, he tried to take this off, couldn't take it off. So this is seized on there right now. So that is a con with having a modular can. I kept the threads clean. It's just, I should have put some type of anti-seize on there. So yeah, right now this is completely locked up. I need to buy strap wrenches for it. So that is kind of a con off the get-go with my first modular can, is that got locked up, but I will be able to get it off at some point, and then I'll make sure I put the right anti-seize agent from having that happen again. So that'll get fixed at some point. Just haven't bought the strap wrenches yet. But yeah, this one I bought in the short configuration, that I bought in the long configuration. So as far as mounting goes, you'll see I have those both mounted on 9mm subgun platforms. So we have a B&T GHM9 and a HKMP5. And then these ones right now are set up to be ran on a pistol. So I've got a couple pistols here. Now with any pistol, you'll need a threaded barrel. So you could buy guns that come factory threaded nowadays, and you can also buy threaded barrels for your guns. So this is a stock Glock 19X with a Gemtech threaded barrel in it. There's no other modifications done to it. It's got a streamline here, but no other modifications. So with that barrel, I just screw this Rugged Obsidian 9 on there, and this came from the factory with the right thread mount for it. You just gotta line it up. So this is a 1/2x28 barrel, which is a common thread pitch in 9mm. And 1/2x28 is gonna probably be the most common thread pitch for 9mm, and the confusing part for some people is 1/2x28 is also common with 22 and 5.56. So it's all the same thread pitch. Theoretically, you could screw this onto an AR-15, but the difference is this is not rated for a 5.56 because a lot more chamber pressure than a 9mm or even than a 22. So I could screw this on a 22 rifle with the 1/2x28 thread pitch, because that 22 round is not over pressure for this. You cannot screw this on an AR-15 and shoot it safely, at least. I mean, it might fire one round, because obviously the hole is big enough for the 5.56 to go through, but it's not rated for that pressure. So just know that 1/2x28 is a very common thread pitch between 22, 9mm, and 5.56, probably other ones as well. But if you buy a 9mm suppressor, you can only run it on 9mm and below. Now where it gets confusing again is some suppressors are rated for 300 blackout subsonic. And keyword is subsonic because it doesn't have the chamber pressure of the supersonic round. So just know that when you buy a 9mm can, you gotta look up what it's rated for. But if you buy a 9mm can, basically it's rated for anything pistol rated 9 and below. So you could run this on a 9, a 380 if you had a threaded barrel, a 32 auto if you had a threaded barrel, 25 auto, 22 long rifle. So it is rated for all of those just as is as a 9mm suppressor, and then some are rated for the 300 blackout subsonic. I don't really do pistol cans on my 300 blackouts. I do dedicated rifle cans for them. That way, if I want to run supersonic ammo through there, I can. But some of mine are probably rated for it. I just haven't looked into that. And then, because you also have to buy the correct mounting systems. So the normal mounting system for suppressors, which I'll leave that there for now, you'll have a threaded piece on here. This is called your piston. A lot of suppressors will come with one piston from the factory. They basically look like this. Let me take this one off. So this is a piston. It's just a threaded piece that goes in your suppressor, screws onto your gun, and most will come with this. Some of them, they don't, and you have to buy it. So this is a 1/2x28 piston, which is the common thread pitch for 9mm, 22, stuff like that. And if you're running it on a pistol, you need a spring here. Now the spring is what allows your pistol to cycle properly, because you'll notice, these are going to be all dirty because suppressors are nasty, get very dirty very easily. You'll notice when this Glock racks back, your barrel tilts up. I'm going to try to show you guys this as clear as I can. So your barrel is tilting up, and if you don't have that spring in there, it's not going to cycle properly. So that spring compresses, and it allows your pistol to cycle properly, because you'll notice there's a slight tilt to the barrel now. That is normal. The round has left the barrel before that tilt even happens. So there's nothing wrong with that. But that spring is what allows your pistol to cycle. So again, you have your piston, you have your spring that allows it to cycle, and then you have this little collar piece that contains it all. So this would go over this, and it screws into your suppressor. So your piston's what threads onto your gun, this screws into the suppressor, holds it all together, and it'll end up looking like that. So that is how you would thread it onto a pistol. You can also thread it onto a rifle setup. Now the difference between that is, instead of having that spring on there, you would need a metal sleeve. Because these barrels do not move, they are a fixed barrel. If you had this spring on there, every time you shoot, the suppressor is going to shoot forward and backwards. Now it may not be noticeable because it's happening so fast, but you don't want that to happen long term, because it could just cause issues. You could potentially have a baffle strike, and that's when a bullet hits one of the baffles inside the suppressor, which could be damaging to the suppressor, obviously. So yeah, you don't want to run a spring on like an MP5 or a B&T or your 9mm AR, stuff like that. It can damage the suppressor. So you would take the spring off, and then you could buy a metal sleeve. It's the same size as the spring, it's just a metal sleeve. It's not compressing at all. You throw that on there, throw this on, and then you could screw it to your barrel at that point. Now, that is an option. I don't do it that way. I do it a different way, and I'm going to show you guys. So with these, the B&T is chambered. This one is not. This is an HK MP5 or an SP5. I had this remarked to MP5, so it's now stamped HK MP5. But with this, watch how easy it is to take this on and off. I push down, I twist, and it pops off. So still a 9mm suppressor. It came with this, which these are what it came with from the factory, but I bought something for this that allows me to put it on there much quicker. And you'll notice some 9mm guns have this type of adapter on here. So you have these lugs right here, it's called a 3-lug, and then you still have your threaded barrel. So I can unscrew this and screw on a suppressor with the metal sleeve like I told you, or I could leave this here, and this pops on like this. This is a 3-lug mount, goes on, push down, twist, and now it's locked in place. And it's not going anywhere. Now there is a little bit of flex to it, so when you're shooting, if you looked at it in slow motion, they do move slightly. I've never had it be an issue on my guns so far. I run it on the MP5, the B&T GHM9, CZ Scorpion. Those are the 3 main sub guns I suppressed, and I've never had any baffle strikes with that. So just my take on it. And it's mainly with these 2 suppressors, and then I also have a Dead Air Ghost 45 suppressor. But yeah, when I'm taking this off, I'll show you. I'll show you how fast it is to switch between the mounts. So I'm going to twist this just to loosen it up. So there we go. Now it's loosened up, and that's kind of a trick to take the suppressor pieces in and out. So let me twist this off now. So now it's loosened, because this can be a pain in the butt to take off with your bare hands. And they don't come with the greatest tools to take the mounting part off. Some of them come with a tool for the front, so this piece works for the front cap here, which is nice if I line it up properly. So with that, I can unscrew the front cap, and it's easy. Not all suppressors come with that. My silencer code did not, but you'll notice it's already kind of loose on there right now. So sometimes you have to make sure these stay tight. Same thing with my Rugged. It did not come with a front cap removal tool, but you could do it with just your fingers. So these will unscrew out, and then your baffles come out the front. So we're going to talk about this mount, which is the tri-lug mount, and that is my favorite way to mount it to 9mm rifles. So this is a contain unit, so there's nothing part-wise that comes apart on it, but it mounts to that tri-lug piece, and it is a replacement for that whole piston setup that I talked about. These tend to be a little bit more expensive. They're about 150 bucks. If you buy just the piston by itself, in a lot of companies they're 80, maybe 100 bucks. Prices are going to vary, but yeah, this is a more expensive mount because it's the entire piece in one unit, but this is how I mount them to most of my sub guns. So that's how I like mounting them to subguns, but pistols, you direct thread them like this. So just screw on and off, and that's the main way you would suppress a pistol. And yeah, that's kind of like the quick rundown of the mounting system on 9mm. And you saw that came out pretty easily. And then now if I want, I could screw this piece in there and I can mount this to a pistol. So takes a little sec. And once that's in there, now I can mount it on a 9mm pistol, or like I said, you can also mount it on a 22. So this is a Ruger Mark IV, and you'll notice I talked about the fixed barrels where they don't move. 22s, they don't move, but it's so minuscule that as far as I know, it's not an issue having that spring on there. Now you could probably still run it with that metal spacer that I was talking about, the metal sleeve, but I just run mine with the spring and I've never had any issues on this Mark IV. I also have a bolt action 22 now, a Savage B22. I don't have any semi-auto 22 rifles, but I would like to get one at some point and run it suppressed. But yeah, this is very cool. You'll notice it is a little big for a 22. The short can is gonna be nicer as far as overall feel and looks goes, but I also have a 22 specific suppressor now. I will say 9mm suppressors on a 22, still extremely quiet, but with a 22 dedicated can, it is a little bit nicer. Even though they're smaller, they just tend to be quieter because the diameter of your suppressor is much smaller for the 22 round, so it contains the gases better. But I do like running 9mm suppressors on a 22. So again, mounting system, this is 1/2 by 28. If you get into some of the European guns, like some factory SIGs, factory Glocks, factory HKs, those can be left-hand thread pitch, and then you have to buy a very specific piston for those. A lot of guns nowadays just come with the 1/2 by 28, but there are still some of the odd ones out there. So now that we have the suppressor mounting out of the way, we're gonna talk about ammo because that is kind of a key component in making it quiet. So I have just a box here for display, but this is Cheat Codes ammo. This is made locally here in Arizona, and it's a subsonic round. Now, most ammo out of the box is supersonic unless you get like 45. 45 is basically all subsonic. That means it moves less than 1,000 feet per second. So this 9mm ammo is moving at 880 feet per second, and it's a 140 grain bullet. So heavy bullet for 9mm, moving extremely slow, 880 feet per second. I think most 115 grain ammo, which is your standard range ammo, it's moving at like 1150, maybe 1200 feet per second. So noticeably slower and heavier. That just makes it extremely quiet. We're gonna go fast. So 115 grain, 2 rounds. 147. 158. 165. And this is what I tend to like shooting, 147 grain in general, through my suppressed guns for range use. Now, when we're talking about, ammo-wise, there is a lot of pros and cons of it, right? Like this is gonna be the quietest ammo, but this is also gonna be some of the weakest ammo. So it's not the greatest for like self-defense, stuff like that. And since it's moving so slow, the bullet drop is much like faster. So if I zero one of these guns for 115 grain ammo at 25 yards, and then I put some rounds of this in there, it's a noticeable point of impact shift. So your bullet is hitting in a completely different spot on the target. I've done videos of this, but it's still a lot of fun to shoot. So I'll kind of zero most of my guns for a supersonic round, and then I'll just know when I run the subsonic ammo, it's gonna hit lower than what I zeroed it at. I did a video with that on the MP5 here with the suppressor. I mainly run the CGS suppressor right now. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely way quieter with the subsonic ammo, but just know your impact is gonna be completely different than running supersonic ammo. Now, when I ran this ammo, which this is my B&T mag, so we're gonna just talk about the ammo. This is 147 grain HST ammo, so Federal HST, it's a hollow point. This is moving at about 1,000 feet per second, and it noticeably brings the impact back up. So I zeroed it with 115 grain, and then I shot it with the 880 feet per second ammo, and it shot low, shot it with this, and it moved it back up. So again, different rounds are just gonna have different impact points, just pay attention to that. But this is the main ammo I run in almost all of my guns for home defense rounds. That's the Federal HST 147 grain. It's good unsuppressed, and it is really good suppressed. Now, it's not as quiet as this because it's moving over 100 feet per second faster, but it's still quiet enough. If you were running it in a subgun setup, it's gonna be quiet. Like, you're not gonna have any issues. Hit. That is what you want from your hollow points. I aim center mass with that and it hits dead on. I've shot this one suppressed with it, and it's got a little bit more pop because it's a shorter suppressor, but this is kind of like, do you want small and compact, or do you want long and quiet? Because obviously this setup is going to be much longer than this one, but they shoot the same round. And I would say they're both just as effective. So yeah, just pick and choose. I like them both, but this one tends to be my, you know, ride in the car gun. We just went camping this weekend and I brought this, and it is extremely portable, which makes it nice. MP5 is cool too, and again, you could just swap them. So with this right here, again, this gun's chambered, but I can take the suppressor off safely, so just push down, twist, and it pops off. And then I pop it on here, and now I have a small suppressed MP5. And then a little bit longer, but still pretty short. So I like the tri-lug mounting system again because they're quick. As far as suppressors go, I would say start with a long one just because you're probably going to want to be more quiet, and then you could do a dedicated short one. It's a lot of fun. You can also do a 45 can if you want, and then you could run 45 on 9 and 22 and everything below that. But again, we were just talking about 9mm suppressors today. So I think that's the main thing. As far as guns goes, it can make your pistols run less reliably than other guns. So just it's going to take some, you know, playing around with. Not all barrels work the same in Glocks. Not all rounds work the same. Some flat nose doesn't run properly. So there is a little bit of, you know, trial and error with a suppressed setup. I put a bronze barrel in here at one point, did not want to run that barrel, so I threw the Gemtech barrel back in there. Other than that, your gun's going to get a lot dirtier, so just know if it's your everyday carry, running a suppressed consistently, you're going to make it dirty and probably wear out parts a little faster. So I mainly do dedicated suppressed setups. As far as rifles go, it does make them dirtier, but I feel like my rifles last longer suppressed than my pistols. I need to clean them a lot more. So other than that, I do really like running suppressed guns. You'll notice I have a suppressed playlist on my channel. I mainly shoot rifles and I like suppressing rifles, but I do like handguns too. So I really like running suppressors on guns. I would just kind of figure out what kind of setup you want to do to start. But yeah, it's as easy as changing the mounting system from going from pistol to rifle or adding that spacer. So I hope this helped some of you guys, and let me know down in the comments below if you have any questions, and I will try to do future videos talking about suppressors and stuff. Also shooting suppressors. Go check out some of my other ones because I have posted a lot of suppressor shooting videos. But yeah, thank you guys again.